If you've ever posted AI content and felt embarrassed because it was so obviously fake and cringe, this video is going to change it for you. And I'm going to be honest, when I just started to create content with AI, I felt the same way. I felt super stupid. All my posts were so obviously written by ChatGPT that I felt really bad. So obviously, because I had to do content for myself, I had to do content for my company where I work as a head of marketing, I had to find a better way. And I found it. Right now my content sounds really authentic, and I literally do 80% of all my content with AI, but people can't notice this, and I'm gonna show you how. And with the way people adopt AI, this problem is getting bigger and bigger. Whenever I scroll through my social media, I see so many posts that are so obviously written by AI, I don't even want to read it, and I stop trusting people who publish those posts. And the problem is really easy, to be honest, to understand, because people don't know how to prompt, and they also don't know how to give AI their story, their context. Usually people try to create content, they go to ChatGPT and they say, write me a post about productivity, and they get the same boring post that everyone else posts on Instagram or any other social media platform. And instead of trying to understand how to create content better with AI, they try to take copy pasted text from ChatGPT, do some tweaks, maybe like remove some emojis or remove these long dashes, which everyone is going crazy right now, and they think it's okay. But the problem is deeper. It's not just about how your post sounds, it's about having you in that post. The magic of content on social media and why people follow you, because they see you in every content that you create. However, if there is no part of your story, your beliefs, your method in your content, then what's the point for people to follow you? So in this video, I'm going to show you the 3 biggest mistakes people do when they try to create content with ChatGPT or any other AI tool. The first one, and the most obvious one, you don't know how to prompt AI. And not only prompt, but also you're not giving context to AI, because everyone is obsessed with finding some magic prompt online which is going to change their life. But even if you take the best prompt, but you don't give enough information to AI, your content will still not sound like you. Need to first prompt AI correctly, like use different types of prompting for whatever type of content you're trying to create. But also you need to give AI your context, who you're talking to, what is your niche, what you're trying to achieve, what's the goal of this post. Don't just copy paste prompts from internet and expect that it's going to be magic. No, you need to actually explain to AI what's the point of you to use this prompt. And obviously don't do completely basic prompts like write me a post about 5 ways to eat healthier, because then it's going to be the most generic, boring post anyone could have ever published. The second one, you need to also explain to AI not just the context of who you create the content for, but also your expertise in that content. The content that stops us from scrolling, that catch our attention, is the one where we can see the person behind the post, is the one where we can see the story, is the one where we can see something unique that only that person could have said. Not like 5 tips how to eat healthier, but for example, I used this method with my client and she lost 10 kilograms in 2 months, for example. So where we can see how you actually did this, or what is your take on something. And I learned it the hard way. When I started working in my startup, I had to create a lot of content on leadership, and I didn't have that much experience in this area, obviously, and I didn't initially ask the person who I was working with for enough content for myself to recreate. So I was just using a lot of AI generated content, but it all sounded so boring. Like, especially I was creating posts for LinkedIn, and whenever I would read this post, I would be like, I'm not interested in that. And I didn't understand what was the problem, because I was already quite good at prompting and I could explain who we create the content for, but I couldn't explain the unique methodology of my founder. And everything changed when I just asked her to give me like a voice recordings where she would explain the topics, where I would get her client calls, where I would take her presentations, like her speaking engagements, her YouTube videos, the older ones. And I put all this information on the backbone of the chat where I was creating content, and the content started playing with different colors straight away, because AI took the unique things that only that person could have said and put it in the content, and straight away it went from boring and generic to like really standing out. And this is exactly how I got, for example, 2.5 million views for that exact person, just by regenerating her other content. I just literally took whatever I had and I used it in the AI, and then I used the viral method that I have for the platform that I was working with. And I got all these views and so many followers and so many engagement just through repurposing content, because the content was already having her, like, her DNA in that content. And all I needed to do is just to reframe it for the specific platform. Every time when your content has your story, it's gonna work better when it's just some generic post you've written with AI. And then the third mistake is using AI just as a single writing tool or like a copy paste tool instead of like a partner who you create content with. Most people, what they do is they open ChatGPT, and even if they give like some better prompt or whatever, they take the first result and they copy paste it. But no, even so, for example, right now I have chat set up for specific purposes where it already has like all the backbones of my expertise, my unique story. But whenever I create the post, I still read the content that ChatGPT gives me, and then I say, no, I want to change this. This way, you take the content from already kind of good level. It's better than someone just says, write me a post about something, but then you take it to a completely different level because you add your own tweaks in the post as well. And then another thing that you can always do with creating content with AI is ask AI to analyze the content that you just created, and then ask it what is wrong with this, why this wouldn't grab the attention, why this, for example, wouldn't make the people to buy your product, or why this wouldn't make them to follow you. Get the feedback from ChatGPT and then ask it to redo the post again with this feedback in mind, and the results will be so much better. I always say one of the biggest mistakes in general with AI is that people take the first answer of AI is never good. Okay, it can be kind of good already, but it's never gonna be as good as it can be. Just people need to treat AI as if it's like the smartest team member on their team, but they still need to explain the little things that they want to have in their content. Always work with ChatGPT. Like some of my chats, I feel like there are pages and pages because I always tweak, I always discuss. Sometimes I kind of like ask which hook is better. I then say, I feel like this paragraph is a little bit too punchy, let's make it a little bit more storytelling. Or if I'm selling something, then I want to go directly to the pain points, obviously, of my target audience. So it all based on communication between you and ChatGPT, but stop thinking that it's just like send one task, get the answer, done, you forget this chat. This is not gonna work. So how do you fix your content and how do you make it better? 3 steps. First, you need to paste your brain inside ChatGPT. It sounds weird, but basically, whenever I start to work on a new product or whenever I want to create like some new series of content, I paste everything which is relevant to that content. For example, my experience, my personal story, my ways of thinking about this topic, and in general, some of my beliefs about the world. And I explain everything to ChatGPT first, all in one chat. Before you touch AI, do like a 5 minute of expertise dump. Everything that's in your brain should be inside AI if it's relevant to whatever you're trying to achieve in this chat. And just ask yourself, what do I know about this topic which is different to whatever everyone else is saying? Obviously, don't use the same things that everyone else uses because they're like the things that you must be doing because AI will know this, but use the things that are different to everyone else's. So the 3 things that I always add in ChatGPT whenever I'm doing something is my unique experience, my contrarian beliefs of like what I think is happening in the market which is wrong and I think different, and then my results, and then like obviously my story or my client's stories. And trust me, if you spend these 5 minutes to teach AI what you believe in, your content will be completely different. Because instead of asking AI to create for you, you will just ask it to amplify your experience or your expertise about that topic. The second step is obviously you need to use better prompts and give AI content. Always within when you're creating the prompts or when you're asking ChatGPT to do something, give it context, give it who you're creating the content for. What is the goal of this content? Do you want them to follow you? Do you want them to believe in you? Do you want them to like comment on your post? Do you want this post to be more in a storytelling way so they relate to you? Or do you want it to be more provocative so people will be like, I'm not sure if I agree with this? Before you post the content, do the authenticity test. First, read the content and remove your name from it. Does it sound like anyone else could have written this? If yes, you need to add your story in there. The second, you need to check if this sounds like you. So for example, take the content, whatever you've created, and imagine what your friend would say if you showed it to them. Would they understand that this was not written by you because it sounds completely different? For example, I use very like simple language whenever I'm talking. So if suddenly my post would be like professional level PhD person written post, then obviously it doesn't sound like me and it's not authentic. And then the third one, just read your post out loud. And if you feel like it's already doesn't sound like you, if you wouldn't say these words in your conversation, change them again. So these steps, they already will help you to create better content. And obviously there are so many more things. You can create AI personas to make sure that your content is relevant to your target audience. You can create special ChatGPTs, custom ChatGPTs that would know what's the point of the chat already. But at least try to do these things and you will see that your content will already start sounding better, and it will not be called out on Instagram saying this is written by ChatGPT. And I have created the manual, which is the complete authentic method of how I create content. I'm gonna leave it under this video so you can download it and use it for later. It's a proper, it's kind of like expanded version of whatever I have told you in this video, just in more details and proper setup. And obviously, if you want to work with me, my contacts are also down below, so reach out. But the main message from this video is AI is here to amplify your voice. AI is here to amplify your expertise. Don't let AI hurt your content. Don't let AI hurt your trust with your audience, because whenever you create really bad AI content, people can notice it. But yeah, follow this channel. I'm going to be posting a lot more videos about AI content in general, so stay along.